Hey, it's NPR's Book of the Day. I'm Andrew Limbong. Ken Jaworowski is a crime writer. He's also an editor at the New York Times. And in today's interview, talking about his new book, What About the Bodies, he spills a bit of an industry secret. The best reporters aren't necessarily the best writers. He talks to NPR's Ayesha Rascoe about editing his own writing the way he would for his day job. It's one of the most honest assessments I've heard an author give of their own skills, because he says he's actually not sure whether or not he's a good writer, but he knows for a fact that he's a good editor. That's ahead.
This message comes from Focus Features. Don't miss Focus Features Anemone, starring three-time Academy Award winner Daniel Day-Lewis in his long-awaited return to the big screen. It's the most anticipated performance of the year. Anemone tells the story of two brothers wrestling with their past and the one secret that has kept them apart for decades. Featuring Daniel Day-Lewis, Sean Bean, and Samantha Morton. Anemone, directed by Ronan Day-Lewis. Rated R, under 17, not admitted without parent. Only in theaters October 3rd.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
A new crime novel has a surprisingly tender side despite its menacing title. What About the Bodies is set in a town where the glory days have packed up and gone, Locksburg, Pennsylvania. The steel plant's closed, the mines too. And the folks who remain, quote, always seem to talk about leaving. 3 characters converge there. They have little in common, except they all could use a change of luck. And that's where we begin with author Ken Jaworowski. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me, Ayesha.
Give us a quick sketch of the 3 protagonists in this book. There's Carla, Liz, and Reed. And obviously, without giving anything away, they are each facing some challenges, to put it mildly.
Yes, they are. They're facing challenges, and the town they're in, as you described, is facing a lot of challenges too. Carla's a single mother. She's been a waitress her whole life. She's trying to get some money together to start her own restaurant. Reed is an autistic young man who has been picked on a little bit throughout his life, and now he's made a promise that he has to keep. And Liz is a down-and-out musician, and she's right on the cusp of her dream. She's just about to have that dream come true, and all of a sudden some problems arise.
There's a passage in the book that I wanted you to read. It's where the character Reed is in the town graveyard, and he has this observation that becomes the title of the novel. Could you read that for us?
I sure can. Here we go. This is Reed. The cemetery is huge for such a small town because Locksburg was not always such a small town. At one time, it was thriving. For years and years, there were a lot of people in Locksburg, but most of them left when the coal mines closed. You might ask what happened to all the living people and where did they go, but you never ask what about the bodies. That is because most times bodies stay where they are buried. The living do not take the dead with them.
As different as the characters are, it does seem like all of them are kind of answering the same question, like how far would you go to follow your dream, or maybe for Carla, protect your son, and Reed for a promise that he made, right?
Absolutely. Look, I hope I wrote a fast-paced thriller. I hope I wrote something entertaining and exciting. But I hope you can also do that and throw in a couple of questions about life and about what we think and about who we are. And you're right. The big question is, how far would you go for what you love? I always say I would do anything for my children, and I truly believe that. And you hear people say that. I would do anything for my family, do anything for my children, I'd do anything for my parent. But what happens if I asked you, well, what happens if you might be facing 30 years to life in Graterford Prison? That might change your answer a little bit.
And what do you think about this fictional town, Locksburg, Pennsylvania? Because not to be, trite, but it is a big character in this story. At least for Carla and Liz, that it's this place that they can't escape. But Reed sees another side of it because he has a real love for the town.
Mm-hmm. Some of these towns in Pennsylvania are absolutely can go either way. Some of them are repurposing themselves from this hard industry past into nice tourist destinations. Some of them are not so lucky. If you live in a major metropolitan area and you lose your job, there's a good chance you could find one somewhat soon. If you live in a small town and the major employer has turned down, you've got bigger problems. And money means something different depending on where you live. So the town itself, I believe, is a character, and it is a place that limits their opportunities. And though that's difficult for a character, when you limit the character's opportunities, boy, it's catnip for a writer. You all of a sudden, when people get desperate, then the excitement happens.
These are three different characters, and there's a question of how are these stories going to intersect towards the end of the book? Because they're seem to be going in very different directions. How did you plot that out? Did you kind of start at the end of the book and work your way back? Or how did you get that? Did you have that in mind, how they were all going to end up getting together?
I have a desk full of old unpublished novels that are collecting dust, and they should collect dust because they're so terrible. And I think the reason I didn't have success with them is because I didn't plot anything else out. I would just roll along and see what happened.
What made you go, okay, I'm going to start approaching this differently? Because a lot of people, if they wrote some novels, they didn't work out, they might not keep going.
Oh, I love this question. I wrote all the past novels. I didn't write this novel. I edited it mostly. I'm not being self-deprecating when I say I don't know if I'm a good writer. I think I am. I hope I am. But I'm not sure if I'm a good writer. But I know I'm a good editor because that's what I get paid to do. And that's what I've gotten paid to do for 20 years is edit. So what I said this time is plot out a story and then go as fast as you can. Don't worry about dotting the I's and crossing the T's. Don't worry about if you're spelling things right. You can go back to those later. And the internet is the biggest enemy of any writer. I will think about a fact and I'm like, oh, I'll go look that up. And the next thing I know, I go down a rabbit hole. So I said, I also worked on a computer with no internet connection. And I said, I'm not going to do that. So I went as fast as possible. Took 3 months to write it, but took 4 months to edit it.
Well, and you said that's what you get paid to do. So, because you're an editor at the New York Times, right?
Yes, I am.
So that's your day job. And so you took those skills and put it to use in this book.
Correct. I have edited a lot of terrific reporters who are not great writers. They're experts at getting the story. They're expert at talking to people and teasing a good answer out. But when they write the copy, sometimes they're moving a little too fast. Sometimes they're just not really as skilled in writing as they are in reporting. And sometimes they will come over to you after you finished editing their story and they say, that's exactly how I wanted to say it. And I thought, if I can do that for a reporter, I think I can do that for myself too. And I hope I did.
That's writer Ken Jaworowski. His new novel is What About the Bodies? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Ayesha. I appreciate it.
And just a reminder that signing up for Book of the Day Plus is a great way to support NPR's book coverage and public media. And you'll get to listen to every episode sponsor-free. So please go find out more at plus.npr.org/book of the day.
This message comes from Sony Pictures Classics with Eleanor the Great. June Squibb shines in Scarlett Johansson's directorial debut, a moving, funny, and unexpected tale about truth, loss, and second chances. Eleanor the Great, only in theaters September 26th.
This message comes from Schwab. At Schwab, how you invest is your choice, not theirs. That's why when it comes to managing your wealth, Schwab gives you more choices. You can invest and trade on your own. Plus, get advice and more comprehensive wealth solutions to help meet your unique needs. With award-winning service, low costs, and transparent advice, you can manage your wealth your way at Schwab. Visit schwab.com to learn more.
Support for NPR and the following message come from Boll and Branch. Turn your bed into a sanctuary this fall with their buttery, breathable bedding. Enjoy 15% off your first set of sheets at BOLL and branch.com with code NPR. Exclusions apply.